Blood of Baal seems to have made the Blood Angels much stronger in many ways, but it seems that their chapter trait Red Thirst has got a bit of a buff. So let's have a chat about Red Thirst. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel, where we focus on getting the most out of your army on the battlefield. Today we're continuing our look at Blood Angels and the content of Blood of Baal. Specifically, we're talking about the new improvement to Red Thirst, the Blood Angels chapter trait. Now in my opinion, Red Thirst was already one of the better chapter traits. +1 to wound on the first round of close combat, whenever you charged, were charged, or have made a heroic intervention, was a pretty massive damage buff, as +1 to wound is very rarely handed out in 40k. It makes Thunderhammers wound knights on 3s, chainswords wound tanks on a 4+, and cut through guardsmen on a 2-up wound roll. It varies anywhere between an 100% and 25% damage buff, which is pretty enormous to be honest. Frankly, I wasn't expecting this one to be improved in Blood of Baal, as it was already very serviceable, but then Games Workshop leaks the Flesh Tearers version of Red Thirst, which now gives the +1 to wound, and also when you roll an unmodified 6 to wound, their attack is at an extra -1 AP. And when they leaked the fact that the Flesh Tearers had an upgraded version of Red Thirst, I was pretty sure that the Blood Angels themselves would have one too, because it doesn't really make sense for a successor chapter to have an upgraded version that's just flatly better than their parent chapter's one. And frankly, the upgraded Red Thirst is exactly what I wanted it to be. As well as that sweet +1 to wound bonus, Blood Angels now also get +1 to advance and +1 to charge rolls, which is basically the same as the Hungry for Battle successor trait out of the main Space Marines Codex. In my opinion, this was already one of the strongest successor traits out there, and absolutely great for any close combat army trying to get to grips with the foe. To put this onto Blood Angels is an absolutely huge buff, as it will lead to more charges happening throughout the game, and when you do get a charge off, you'll have just that extra bit of mobility to position yourself optimally. One of the biggest impacts I think that this one will have is that it makes your charges out of Deep Strike go off on an 8 rather than a 9. With no other buffs, a 9-inch charge from Deep Strike has around a 28% chance of going off, but a charge out of Deep Strike of 8 inches has a 41% chance of going off. Of course, this can be increased even further with command rerolls. Say you roll a 5 or a 6 and still fail the charge by a low second roll, you could command reroll the second dice, and this pushes your chances to above 50%. There are a massive amount of Blood Angels units that want to charge out of Deep Strike, as almost all of their buffs, including their chapter traits, combat doctrine, and a lot of the auras from their characters augment their close combat profile. Just off the top of my head, units that want to charge out of Deep Strike can include Assault Marines, Death Company with jump packs, Sanguinary Guard, Vanguard Veterans with jump packs, Terminators of all varieties, and Primaris Reavers too. This makes it just a little bit more viable to have multiple units coming down at the same time, as opposed to just taking one max unit of Death Company with jump packs and spending 2 command points on the 3d6-inch charge, which in my opinion is still a very strong stratagem and will still be a staple of Blood Angels list. The +1 to advance isn't too bad either. It'll certainly help the Blood Angels get about the board a bit faster on any turn when they're not charging. It could be particularly useful for moving their smash characters around on a turn when you don't think you're quite going to be able to make a charge. To my knowledge, I don't believe there are any ways that Blood Angels can access advance and charge, either through this supplement or through their main codex, though of course if that isn't the case, please correct me, as if they can advance and charge with +1 to both rolls, then that would be a hilarious level of movement. I think that this buff to the Blood Angel stratagem really complicates the matter a little when you're thinking about whether or not to include a Chaplain with the litany that allows +2 inches to charge in your list or not. The thing is that this litany explicitly states that it doesn't stack with any other modifiers, so it won't combine with the Blood Angels chapter trait. This is a bit annoying because I'm not sure whether it's actually worth it to bring a Chaplain just to provide an extra 1 inch of charge rolls. It is an important inch. If we're doing percentage chances again, then it jumps you from the 40% chance of a charge on an 8 to a 58% chance of a charge on a 7. So it's still a huge buff, but it's not anywhere near quite as big a buff as if they were trying to make 9-inch charges before. My current instincts are that yes, Chaplains are probably still going to be worth it to take if you are thinking about bringing mass Deep Strike units. The Blood Angels do have a new little relic that can allow you to get full rerolls for charges, called the Icon of the Angel, and I believe that this could be a very decent alternative to a Chaplain with a Deep Strike strategy, particularly as it avoids you having to even roll for the Chaplain's litany, which might not go off. Anyway, overall I think that this is a really solid improvement to the traits. Every charge that you fail could be a massive blow to a Blood Angel's list, and a massive sigh of relief from their opponents. So each time this trait wins you an extra charge, it's likely caused a very decent swing in the game being played. I'll most certainly be reviewing Blood of Baal as soon as I can, and I'll be trying to get that done tomorrow if at all possible. Thanks very much for listening to another Auspex Tactics video. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more Blood Angels content in the future. I'm planning on going a little bit blood mad in the next few weeks. A whole load of the Blood Angels units got decent points drops in the new chapter approved book, and it's going to be great to take a second look at these to see what they can offer us. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see that, or to support me on Patreon if you've been enjoying this content. Again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.